Hello friends, you're with the Lonesome Gamer and I'm playing Level 7 Invasion. And this is pretty sure the last part of this video series, which has become quite a long one. The situation is getting a little critical, but because it's the last turn now, I'm pretty sure we will win this. Everything is more or less under control in the end, even though the Americas are really under heavy attack. We have here in South America, we have 4 areas with containing invaders, and we have a dropship. We have here North America with 3 areas overrun, 4 areas with invaders. So there's really a lot going on, and the income of North America suffers a lot because we have these 3 overrun areas. As you can see here, we have less oil, less food, a lot of less food. You can see here these 2 alone give 4 less food. And here we have another million left. So they lose 4 million, they lose 4 food, 1 oil, 1 mineral. That is definitely a very heavy loss. Anyway, because we know now it's the last turn, sometimes it might even be enough simply to place all the units in the capital area. So, and if the capital, well, actually I wonder, even if the capital would be overrun, is it possible? No, actually the faction would not be destroyed, only if the overrun capital stays for 3 turns not liberated, then the coalition would be destroyed. So that means basically that it's going to be pretty impossible to lose in any way now. I mean, the only option is that North America could lose with only 3 MIC left. That is possible. But we can trade MIC, which makes it much more easier, and then, well, we probably can't lose this anymore, which might be a weakness of the game, by the way. Okay, anyway. So let's start it with the Gin Mercenary phase. The Americans start again. They have a lot of money. This is their big advantage now, even though they won't get much in the income phase. They've stored a lot of stuff. The only thing they're short of is fuel and the MIC. So let's see. They might now buy rogue clones. I think that is something they can afford for $1. And with these rogue clones, I wonder if they should try to I'm not sure if I want to. Actually, I'm going to buy 2 of these rogue clones, I guess, because they might show up pretty soon on the black market again. So they're going to pay $2 for these rogue clones, and that allows them to roll 2 dice. And if they don't roll a minus, they can kill 2 units. And basically they're attacking these 2 units here in Canada, I guess. No, only 1 success. That's not that great. Well, anyway. then we'll see South America. Oh, we got to refill the black market. We got more rogue clones, and then we're gonna reshuffle these other and fill the market again. Okay, so that's basically what I expected. We got one more rogue clone, so there are now overall 3 rogue clones here. And South America, well, I think they might, well, they could think about maybe also buying 2 of these and using them both, one for Brazil and the other one for Argentina. Okay, I should have said which for which, but now they're both successful and they're both dead. So that's definitely an advantage here. Let's see what comes up now. More rogue clones. And here we see a Fear Hunter hybrids. So it's Europe then. And they will also buy one of these rogue clones. And yeah, I guess this is it then. And they're gonna try to destroy these guys here in the Nordic Confederacy. So let's see. Yep, that was a success. So actually I forgot to adapt here when the 2 units in South America were destroyed. So the adaptation dial is now at 6. Gin researchers, very good. On the other hand, they're not very useful right now, because if we hire these guys, we cannot use them in this turn, because the research token will be a committed token that we get. So we could only research in the next turn, but because it's the last turn of the game, it makes no sense anymore. So I guess I'm gonna buy the rogue clones instead with Africa. Although yeah, I think I can do that. Try to attack this guy here in the Kenyan Federation, and that was a success. So he's also killed. And we see more rogue clones showing up here. And Asia, well, I think they can also simply afford one of these rogue clones. For 1 million. And then simply try to attack the guy in the Uzbekistan alliance. And that was also successful. So he's also destroyed. So that was pretty useful to kill off these 1 unit invaders. Okay, so let's replenish the Gin market, although it actually is not really useful. We won't have the chance to hire more Gins. And here we have some warrior clones now. So the Americans, the North Americans, can now hire or deploy units. So they will pay $6, and then overall they control 8 units. And I cannot place, well, I could also place units now in overrun territories, but that would cost me an extra buck. So I won't do that, of course. But there is also no limitation, and because they are pretty mobile, I find it a little hard to see a point where I might want to do that at all. That might be another weakness of the game, that you can move through territories that are occupied or overrun. So there are basically no obstacles. And why should I place it then in one of the overrun territories and pay more money? The only imaginable condition would be that nearly every territory of a coalition is overrun. Well, then you have definitely a problem. Anyway, let's go on. The next one would be South America now, and they can place 6 units here. So they're gonna deploy 4. And they're gonna place them all in Brazil. Then we got Europe. They have 8 units they could control. So they're gonna buy 4 and place them all here in the Union of the Central European States. Africa, they have now developed the mesh networks, so they can now control 6 units. And if they spend all their money, they can hire 6 units. And they deployed all their units here in the Dominion of Ethiopia. Asia, well, the cognitive systems allow them to control 9 units. So they might pay 2 million to get to their full capacity, and well, not sure exactly where to place these guys. I mean, we could maybe even help the Americans out and liberate Alaska. I think that could be a good idea. So we place them here in Siberia, and then we might simply move to Alaska and destroy these guys over there. Because here basically everything seems to be more or less under control right now. And well, yeah, this is it then. We come to the research phase now. Okay, so we start with the US. They will try to improve these biological sciences and develop the synthetic food. So that means they're going to pay their 2 science labs. They're going to pay 2 million. Wait a second. 1 food, 2 million, and this is it then. And yeah, then they've developed these synthetical foods. And now in addition, what they definitely want to do is they need some MIC. they need some workers basically. So they might trade, for example, with Asia, which they have a lot of people. So I guess, well, in the end, there's not that much that Asia might need, but they could give them, let's say, three minerals and maybe, I don't know, one bug, and in return they will gain 4 of these MIC. Okay. And then it's South America. And it doesn't make much sense to improve communications because we cannot, we won't deploy more units because there is no next turn. So basically it's also about these two things. So I'm gonna, on the other hand, maybe it's a good idea if we give we might give Africa a chance to improve their power. Yeah, I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to give Africa one, or maybe even, yeah, I'm going to give them both of my research labs. And they're going to pay, I don't know, maybe, basically they don't need anything. Oh, damn. And Africa also needs money if they want to do research. So I'm going to give them my research labs and $5, which is, it's a little ridiculous. But, well, obviously you will only do these things if you play cooperative. And in return they give me 3 MIC, I guess, and, well, I don't know, I don't need minerals at all. I don't need anything else. But okay, just to be fair, I give them 2 minerals, whatever. Okay. And no research then for South America. Okay, then here the Europe. Well, they can do some research. For example, they can develop the biological sciences. I think they're going to do that. I'm going to pay 2 of these science labs, 2 million and 1 food. And then they got also the synthetic food. Problem is they're gonna simply lose a science lab, but hey, who cares? Well, they don't lose it, but they can't use it, so it's kind of a waste. What did I have to pay of food? Okay. So here we go. So and then it's Africa and Asia, they are the last countries which don't have energy weapons yet. So they want to develop these weapons. That means they need $5, which they have thanks to the trade with South America. They would need 3 of these research labs. They actually have 4, so that's also not a big problem. And then they have to pay 4 minerals, 1, 2, 3, 4, for fuel, and yeah, and the $5 here. Okay, and then they now also have the hypersonic travel and the energy weapons, and that means they now have a power of 3. They have 1 laboratory left, but there is nothing they can develop with one laboratory. And then finally it's Asia over here. And because now they control Eastern Australia, they have this laboratory here. And they can actually use this, and then these two pay $5 for fuel, for minerals, and then they can also develop the energy weapons, which is very cool. So here we are now. Okay, that was then the research step. We come to the Kronos project step. And this is now the last thing. Initiate psychotronic broadcast. Okay, so we have to pay 4 of everything and 10 MIC. Okay, so the money is not the problem. The US is going to pay the money. In addition, they have 21 minerals, which is just amazing, so they can easily pay 4. What about fuel? South America can also pay the fuel. So go down to 9. The food. This is amazing. North America has 12 food. But of course, I mean, it makes sense because they only have so little people, so they didn't have to pay much food. And yeah, that's it then. So the last thing we need is 10 MIC. And this is gonna hurt now a little bit. But okay, I mean, if everybody pays a little bit, I think it's gonna be fine. Let's say 2 here from Africa. From South America, and maybe, I don't know, maybe 2 from Europe. Asia is gonna pay, let's say 3. So that means we only need 1 more, and Africa, I think they can spend 1. Okay. Should have been enough, huh? That's 4, is it? Wait a second. 2? Oh, damn, I don't know. They paid 3, yeah? I think that's... Yeah, I think that was fine. 3? I'm not sure anymore. Now I'm a little confused. I think I have to pay 1 more. Ah, damn it. Whatever, I'm gonna pay 1 more. I mean, I'm pretty sure it doesn't make a difference anymore. Okay. So then we're done here. We have funded this last project here. Ah, damn it. I want to be sure. Damn, let's pay another one. Okay, here we go. So, the event step of this round is the Invaders Annihilation Strike. At the end of this round, the game is over. Any surviving coalitions win. Okay. So, the invaders will now make one desperate attempt to destroy the whole Earth. And if they don't manage to do this, we will win the game. And it's not looking that great for them, actually. So the next thing is then the income. And overall, it's not that interesting. But it's going to be interesting for the US. It's just going to do it this time because to show you how much they actually lose. Well, they lose $4, so they still will gain 10. That's still a lot of money, actually. Food. Okay, they lose 4, so they gain 3. No, wait a second, that was the wrong dial here. So they are at 11 here, which is still pretty good. They lose all their oil, so no oil for them this time. And they are losing one mineral, so no minerals. Okay. And I'm going to do the others off camera. Okay, now so let's come to the movement phase now. Fine, what are we going to do? Well, guess I'm going to move with two guys here to Canada, two more here to the eastern US, and well, let's move with three here to the Mexican influence zone, and in the end we might even move with this guy from Greenland here, maybe just to the western US, just to have someone there taking care of our capital. South America, well, pretty sure we want to see some units here in Venezuela. Guess at least 3 of them. I think it's a good idea to keep maybe 2 in Brazil. Yeah, I think that's fine. That's just fine. Europe, okay, it shouldn't be such a big deal. We're gonna move with 4 units here to this area. Oops. And then one guy might stay here. Yeah, maybe even I take a unit and move it here from the North Africa Concord to the Union of the Central European States. Okay. Africa, well, for them it's not so difficult. They all move here. Maybe except for, well, yeah, why not? I mean, maybe one of them should stay here in the Dominion of Ethiopia. Now we're going to see these guys here. They move to Alaska. And well, I think these 2 might move to China, and one of them will move here to the Indonesian refugee zone. And this is it then. That's the end of the movement phase. And now we come to the events phase. Okay, so now what we're going to see is this annihilation strike. And that means anytime a unit of the invaders enters play, we roll a die. And if we roll a plus, a second unit will enter play. So, let's see now here. These are the alpha events now. So, draw a dropship card and place 1 invader unit in each of the 4 territories listed. Okay. So, let's see. We got the Nigerian League, but we can actually roll a die here. They have the energy shielding, so that means equal or minus, and it won't happen. They take 1. Okay, so that also means we have to roll now. Okay, no additional unit will land there, but that's bad enough. Canada. Well, let's see. That looks good. The energy shields actually, yeah, they hold it and did not allow the invaders to drop some units there. Then the Uzbekistan alliance. Okay, that's bad luck. And now let's roll for the additional unit. Okay, this time we will actually see 2 units entering here. Finally, the North Africa Concord. First for the shields. Okay, that was good luck. No units will enter this area. Okay. And then we'll see a unit at dropship number 4, so that goes here, and then we roll again, and if we roll a plus, there will be a second unit. That is not the case. So I think that was a good start, actually. The next alpha event is then bombardment. Each coalition destroys one of its coalition units. Okay, so let's see. Again, we can use our energy shields, because orbital assault or bombardment could be prevented by them, but not this time. So the US has to destroy a unit, and well, not absolutely sure. I guess they will destroy the one unit here in the Mexican influence zone. South America. Okay, they destroy their unit in Brazil, I guess. Europe. No, they don't have to destroy a unit. Africa. Okay, they will destroy the one in the Dominion of Ethiopia. And then finally Asia. Ah, damn it. So they will remove one from the Indonesian refugee zone, I guess. Yeah, why not? Okay. And then we're gonna see units here at dropship number 3 and in Greenland and in Alaska. So let's roll if there is an additional unit. Nope, not at dropship number 3, which is here. What about Greenland? Yes, we will see 2 units in Greenland. No, it's not Alaska, it's actually Arabia. So let's see. Oh yeah, okay, 2 units in Arabia now. So that was the second event then. And oh my goodness, we have here another alpha event, the viral video. Each coalition rolls 2 dice for the following. So let's see. The viral videos. Do we have anything against that? Yeah, here. The information control. Whenever a viral video event requires you to make a roll, you can avoid rolling any number of dice by spending 1 million for each die. So that means they can easily spend 2 million and then there is no more threat. Same thing is possible for South Africa. Yeah, and also for Europe. I think basically everyone has that. Yeah. And everyone's gonna pay the money here. Okay. Here we go. And then we're gonna see lots and lots of units. Number 1. At least no additional unit. That's definitely good. Dropship number 1 is this one. Number 2. Okay, here we have now 2 units landing. And that means now that 1 unit will move to the Dominion of Ethiopia. Dropship number 3. Just 1 unit landing. So this is here in Venezuela. Number 4. Okay, there we will see 2 units in India. And that now also means, because India has only a defense value of 2, that 1 of these units will now move here into the Indonesian refugee zone. And finally, Eastern Australia. And we're going to see 2 units in Eastern Australia. So here we go. Okay. Now we come to the Bravo events. And we're going to see another orbital assault here. Draw a dropship card and place 1 invader unit in each of the 4 territories listed. Okay. Here we are. We start with the Eastern United States. First we can roll for the shields actually. Okay, that was bad luck, and then we have to roll again, and we will see 2 units there. So that means now these units are placed here, they're not spawned, so they will be both here, although their defense value is only 2. Only if a unit is spawned, which happens if they come directly from dropships, then they move in adjacent countries, but not if it says place. The Indonesian refugee zone. Let's see if the Asian shields hold. No, they don't. And we see a second unit there. So that means this Indonesian refugee zone is now overrun. And this is now, by the way, Central African Accord here. And we will also see 2 units there. Finally, the Russian influence zone. No luck too. Well, this time we were really unlucky with the rolls. Yeah, we were damn unlucky. Not sure, but I think I rolled now 8 times a plus. So that is definitely not lucky at all. So the Russian influence zone is now also overrun because we have here 2 spaces, a defense value of 2. But okay, fine. That wasn't a good one. And then we see more units at dropship number 1. This time we don't see an additional one at least. Dropship number 1 would be here. And dropship number 4 in India. And also no additional unit this time. So that means now that this guy here would actually go to China. Because in all the others are already invader units. This is the last one, the last adjacent area where there is no invader unit. So it goes to China. Okay. So that was the 4th event card, and then we come to the last event card of the game. And we have an orbital assault again. It's basically the same thing as before. Draw a dropship card and place 1 in each of them. So we start with Siberia. Let's hope this time we're rolling a little better. No, not a good start here. And we see 2 units in Siberia. Western United States. Damn it. And, well, okay, just 1 unit. So that would be a capital, by the way, but there is also 1 there to defend it. The Nigerian League, again, there is already a lot of pressure here. So that's not so great. And at least the shields hold it. So there will be no unit there, which is good. And Peru, finally. And also their shields hold it. So also no units in Peru. At least something. Fine. And then we will see a unit dropship 2 in the Nigerian League. Let's see what we roll. Yeah, okay, that's bad luck. We see 2 units there. So that means, because this area is already overrun, they will move somewhere else. So they will move, one of them will move to Brazil, the other one will move to the North Africa Concord. Because these are the adjacent areas where there are no invader units. And that is then the end of the event phase, and you can see now we see really a lot of units here. It's a heavy strike, but I mean it's pretty obvious that it will not be enough to destroy us, I guess. I think even if we would leave it now like that, we might still survive that. But let's bring it to an end now. So we do the battles. We start with the US. Or with the North America, and I say we start in Canada here. Okay, so that's a victory for the Canadians. This thing goes up. And, well, the Western US here. The US is the attacker simply because they have a power of 3, while the aliens only have a power of 2. Okay, again, an easy victory here. And, well, let's try our luck here in the Eastern US now. Okay, that is now one from each side. So if we lose now the next one, if we roll a minus, that would mean that the Eastern US would be overrun. No, that's fine. I mean, we now both lose one, but it's not enough to overrun them here. And by the way, Canada was liberated now. What we see now is another adaptation. So, go here and draw an adaptation card. Let's see what that is. Aggressive tactics, persistent, reduce the defense of all overrun territories and dead zones by 1 to a minimum of 1. Okay, so that is interesting because that means if they move, they might, for example, here from Greenland. Greenland would be now overrun because it has a defense of 2, and there are now 2 people, so it is overrun by 1. It is overrun, and that means they would only have a defense of 1 then. So that means that these guys here would move in the movement phase for the enemies to the Nordic Confederacy, and therefore they might do some MIC damage, kill some population there. Similar things would actually happen here in Australia, Western and Eastern Australia, because they also have a value of 2, and well, so therefore they are overrun. Well, actually, it's dead zones in general, not only overrun dead zones. It's dead zones in general. So here it would be still fine, but the others are reduced by 1. And then we see here in the Mexican influence zone the battle. Okay, that's a victory for the attacker. And another roll and another victory for the attacker. So fine. That means that the Mexican influence zone would be also liberated if it stays that way. Then we're going to see some battles with the South American forces. Let's start here in the Central African Accord, where South America actually has 1 unit. And they lose that unit. So that is not good, but until now, this area is not overrun because it has a defense value of 3. Okay, let's go on here in Brazil, I say. And that's okay, we both lose one, but there is no one left in Brazil, so that's a good thing. And now we have that big battle here with the mothership in Venezuela. Okay, we both lose one. Again, we both lose one. So there is now only one South American unit left, but at least Venezuela would not be overrun. And actually, we managed to kill another one of these guys. I might have forgotten to remove two here. Yeah, I think I did. And finally, there is the dropship. Let's see if we can destroy that. No, sadly we didn't. Okay. Anyway, there is no more danger here in Venezuela now. That's good. And so let's see. The next one would be then Europe. And basically we have one battle here. And there's also a battle here in Alaska where the European forces are involved. But because Asia is stronger there, because they have more troops and the same power, they are the ones that will roll the dice, or the die. And let's start here now in the Western European Defense Pact. So we would have an additional power there because of the blaster hybrids, but we're in the lead anyway, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so this is one hit. And another one. And now only the dropship is left. And that was a good success here. So without any casualties, we managed to destroy these guys. And that means we can gain another MIC here as a reward. Then we see some action here in the North Africa Concord. That sucked. Okay, we lose one here. But it's not that bad. I mean, for now, the area is not overrun, so it's not such a problem. Now Africa, and there's just one fight. It's this big one here in the Nigerian League. And they also have the energy weapons, so they have a power of 3. Okay, both lose one. Okay, that's fine. The next one will trigger another adaptation. Okay, not this one, because only if you kill an enemy. Okay, so here we go. The enemy will adapt again. So we draw another card. A surprise attack. Draw a dropship card and place one invader unit in each of the 4 listed territories. That's a problem. Remember, we might have to place 2. So let's see now. So that is the Uzbekistan alliance, the first one here. And that will be overrun now. And we will see 2 units there. So that means they will spread out quite a bit, because, but only at the end of the game. So it is possible that we will see some. It's interesting, we might see some chain reactions similar to Pandemic then, because we will see probably quite a few overrun territories now. Western United States. Okay, we will see 2 here also. South African influence zone. Okay, there is only one unit. And the Nordic Confederacy. 2 units there. So that is pretty bad, because we know one of them will move here. And I gotta check if it is possible that... I mean, the problem is that if this unit is overrun, or if this area is overrun, then it says these aggressive tactics. That means that we have to lower the value again, so they might move on, which is a little bit of a problem, but okay. I mean, we'll see what happens there. So that was this adaptation step now. And then we might be able to destroy the dropship in the Nigerian zone. And yes, that was fine. Or the Nigerian League. So we'll also try to gain another MIC here. And finally we will see the battle in Asia, and you can see now here there are really lots of units in Asia. So and we cannot do anything against the Indonesian refugee zone, against the units in there, or against the units in the Uzbekistan alliance. I think we might actually start with Alaska. Up here, we want to liberate these guys. So let's see. Okay, everyone loses one here. And second one. And remember, we can only liberate this area if there is one unit left there. But in the end it doesn't really matter now. Okay, but we did. We managed to liberate Alaska, which is cool. So we liberated basically every zone, Alaska, Canada, and the Mexican influence zone. So that was pretty cool. Okay, and then we go on. We have here in China a fight. And we lose one unit here. And we go on. And we killed the other one. So I forgot to do this adaptation dial in Alaska, but now I corrected that. So we see the last battle of the game now here in India, where we try to attack this dropship, and that shouldn't be a big deal too. So well, that's the first casualty here. Okay, we managed to kill one of the attackers. And another one. Fine. And then, in the end, we managed to destroy the dropship and gain also one MIC here. Okay. So this is it then. That's the end of the battle phase. Now we come to the territory status phase. So what does that mean? Okay, Alaska is liberated. That's cool. We still lose something which is painful, but at least not that. It's not that bad anymore. Same as Canada here is also liberated. And finally the Mexican refugee zone. There's actually not such a big difference. You will lose 1 million anyway. Okay. Fine. So what else? Let me see. Is there another overrun territory right now? I don't think so, actually. No. Okay. So there wasn't an overrun territory that is now liberated. That's what I mean. And now it's going to be interesting because now we actually have to check the territory status. So, but the movement will happen after the check of the territory status. So that makes it actually impossible to move and then. So, an example, if we would move now with these guys here, then it would be overrun, and then we would have to move again because this had lowered this, because of these aggressive tactics, which would lower the defense value of overrun territories, which would then kind of lead to a chain reaction or something. But this is not happening as I see now, because first you do the territory status check and then you do the movement. Okay, so we will see here the Uzbekistan alliance is now, this is now overrun. So that means that the blaster hybrids there are killed, which doesn't matter anymore, but anyway. And we would actually lose 1 oil, 2 food, and 1 million there if there was another income step. Okay, so and then let me see. The Indonesian refugee zone is overrun for the second time. So we flip this again. Okay, but this is actually it. Nothing else is happening there. Oh yes, that's not true. The Russian influence zone is also overrun. I forgot that. Okay. Let's see. Oh gosh, here we go. Yeah, there we are. So that would cost us minerals, food, and 2 million. And it also would contain a research lab so that we could not use anymore, but yeah, because it's the last turn, it doesn't matter. Okay. So, but then, this is it then. Okay. So what happens next? The invader movement. Well, so this is now a little interesting because of this. Reduce the defense of all overrun territories and dead zones by 1. So that means now that these guys from Greenland would move to the area with the least invader units. So that means they would move to Canada. Okay. And then we would see these guys, because this has now only a defense value of 1, they would move then here to the Union of the Central European States. Fine. Then here, the Uzbekistan alliance only has a defense value of 2 now. So that means that 2 will move out here, one of them will move to China, and the other one will move to India. Same thing here, Indonesian refugee zone. 2 would move somewhere else. They would move to the areas with the least invader units and the least, and then the next one would be the fewest coalition units. So they move here first to China and then to India. And now India would be also overrun, but because the territory check doesn't apply anymore, I think this doesn't matter. And then we see some invader movement here from Western Australia. And they will move here to the Kenyan Federation. And then from Eastern Australia, they will move to Argentina. Because their defense value is also reduced by 1, because these are dead zones. Okay, I think this is now actually the end of the movement phase. Kronos control is no longer important. Terror level. Okay, well, obviously each coalition has invader units. I mean, it's there is no doubt about that. So the terror level goes up everywhere. Now we come to the interesting step, which is the MIC damage. If now any country would fall to 0, or any coalition would fall to 0, that would mean that this coalition would have lost. But what we see about that, I don't think this will happen. First, we would have the standard -1 turn, but because everyone has these poison compensators, we do not suffer that toxic damage. And now the second one is actually that we lose 1 MIC for each area that contains an alien or an intruder. But because we all have the extended aid networks, that means we can reduce that number by 2. Yes. So that means North America will lose only 1. That brings them to 6. South America will lose also 1, which brings them to 7. Europe will lose also 1. So they are at 8. Africa, they will lose 2, because there are 4 areas here. Actually, I forgot that one here in Europe. So Europe will also lose 2, which brings them down to 7. Africa will lose 2, which brings them to 6. And finally, we got Asia, and they lose 1, 2, 3. Okay. So they are at 5. And then there is only one last thing. We have to feed our people. But that is not a problem here. 2 for US. 2 for South America. If we could not feed our people, we would actually lose 1 more MIC. But this is not a problem here, luckily. And only 1 here for Asia. Okay. So basically everybody's fine, I guess. More or less. I mean, we took hard hits, of course. Yeah. But I mean, we don't need to do the dropship step and the research readiness anymore. I think this is it then. We've won the game, and it was a long game. But still, there should be enough time to say a few words about that, I think. Okay, I think this is definitely an interesting game. Basically, I like it. I think it was really a good game. It was very long, but of course, if you play it on camera, it takes always longer than if you just would do it on your own, that's for sure. You can play this game solo, and you can play it well solo, I guess. Although it's not exactly perfect. I mean, you have to handle all 5 coalitions, and that, you know, you have to do this patiently and step by step, and don't rush ahead. Otherwise, you will probably screw up and things will get confused and so on. But if you go just patiently through these different phases here, step by step, then it's actually not such a big deal. The rulebook is fantastic. I really love it. It's a very good rulebook because it completely follows these different phases. So basically, maybe you should read the battle rules at the beginning just to understand how battle works. But then, if you know that, you could play basically with the rulebook, without reading the rulebook, just step by step, just reading the first phase and play it, and reading the second phase and play it, and so on. This is possible. The rules are very clear once you got them, and it's very, very clear written. It follows the turn order in a very simple way, and then if you play 2 turns or so, you can simply follow this turn order, which will guide you perfectly through the different steps. Components are great. I think the cards are very thin. The cards are really very thin, so you might want to sleeve them maybe. The board looks great, and yeah, the miniatures are also fine, I guess. What I like about this game is it kind of fills a niche in my collection, because I don't know if there are any, well, I would say risk-like or risk-type games that can be played solitaire. I'm not sure about that. Maybe there are, but I don't know any. And this is one of these games. This is a fully cooperative risk-type game. You can play it solo. You can play it semi-cooperative if you want to. So this is definitely an interesting choice. It might not be a perfect game, but if you're looking for something like that, it's going to be hard to find something which is soloable. So this is obviously a really good choice. It offers a lot of options. You can do a lot of things without overwhelming you. You can do the standard stuff like deploying troops, moving them, and so on. But you can also trade with the other players. You can do research. You have some different kinds of resources like food, fuel, minerals, and these MIC. You have the money. There is this feature of overrun territories and that you can liberate them again. It's an interesting option if you play these things cooperative, that you can simply help each other. I mean, you can say, okay, I fight here in your area, and I just try to help you out. And it's going to be even more interesting, I think, if you play it semi-cooperative. So you could say, okay, I don't know. I mean, you're not officially allowed to trade military service, but you could say, hey, I don't know, give me $5, and I give you in return, I don't know, 1 food, and I will help you out there. So you trade basically the food against the box with a little bit extra, So, I mean, that might be allowed. And yeah, some other interesting features, like, for example, the terror level, or these skin mercenaries where you can pay for some temporary bonuses, which is also just great. the adaptation of the aliens, so that there is a climax going on with this devastation. First you got the assault events, then you got the devastation phase, and then in the end there is this annihilation attack. So that is also a really interesting point. Also these dead zones, which give you an extra bonus if you manage to control them. And all these kind of things. I mean, these are a lot of options, but these are simple options. And finally here, these Kronos project, where you have to work together. You know, they give you a really big advantage if you develop them. Some of them at least do. But some of them are really expensive. So it's interesting to develop these things together. And it's also interesting to see that you can only win this game if the countries survive that where these things are developed. So that might make this game a little unbalanced, because it means that an example, Asia or North America, these are the two countries that can develop the last two cards. So that means even if you're not Asian, or if you're not the Asian or North American player, you definitely want to keep these two countries alive, because if one of them goes down, that means the game is lost for everyone. But if you play, let's say, South America, well, then you could say, okay, who cares about these guys? We don't need them anymore. They've done their job in the first round, so I won't help them anymore. They're not interesting for me anymore. And of course, it's going to be harder to win if you have less countries available, you have less resources overall. But still, I think people will do everything to keep these two countries alive, Asia and North America. But hey, if it's on the edge, they might say, okay, well, we don't really need South America, so the guy has to help himself. And this is actually something that might that might be a little unbalanced here. Another point is, if you play that solo, or let's say you play it fully cooperative, there is of course the problem with the trading, because you can simply do every trade that you want. So you might say, as I did, okay, we do a house rule here, so that we say, okay, you have to pay at least $2 for minerals, food, or fuel, or MIC or so, to make it a little more fair, or trade the other things on a one-to-one basis. Because otherwise you could say, okay, I don't know, let's say North America has an MIC of 2, and they are nearly broke, but they give Asia $1 and they give them in return 10 MIC or something like this. These are probably things that might not happen in a semi-cooperative game. But in a fully cooperative game you can do that, and I think that's kind of a problem. So I thought about something like, you could say, if you play that fully cooperative, you might say you need an overall MIC of maybe at least 40 or something to survive, There have to be at least about, I don't know, maybe 4 billion or people or something like that alive on the earth at the end of the game, otherwise you have lost this. Something like that might be an interesting idea. Well, let me see, what else can I say? Yeah, there are these little flaws. Well, I don't know, I said that already during the game. I find it very unlikely that you will come to a point where you have to pay, an example, 2 million for a unit to deploy that. So which is what you have to do if you want to deploy a unit in an overrun country or in an overrun area. This is very unlikely because as long as not every area is overrun, you can simply deploy the unit next to it or even either 2 or 3 spaces away, and you can still move through overrun areas or through areas that are with invader units. So maybe it would have been more interesting if you could not move through areas that are overrun or contain invader units. That might be more interesting. Another more interesting point might be, for example, that you kind of have to protect this Dr. Kronos guy. That if he ends up in an overrun region, or if the region where he is, if that region gets overrun at the end of the round, then he is captured and killed, and you lose the game immediately. I think these kind of things would make it a little more thematic and a little more interesting. I mean, of course they make the game harder, but still it might be an interesting option. So in the easy mode, if you play solitaire or fully cooperative, I think the game is too easy. I think we've seen that. It was pretty clear that we won't lose that game. But you can adjust the difficulty. You can play that game in a standard mode or even in a hard mode. I haven't tried that before. Tom Vassell was complaining how terribly hard that game was, so I thought that would be a good way to start with the easy mode, but well, I don't know, it wasn't that bad, I think. Okay, so yeah, I can recommend this game if you're looking for a Risk-like game which offers you a co-op and solitaire variant. That's definitely interesting. There is another issue which I might address very shortly. It's about the comparison to XCOM, of course. I mean, we've seen XCOM now from Fantasy Flight Games. There was a big hype around this game, and there was this discussion with this app, of course. I mean, you know, in XCOM you have an app, and many people have a problem with that. And I'm not sure if I have, actually. I don't know. Maybe I also have a problem with it, because, you know, you feel, for some reason, I don't know, I feel better if there is no technology in my games. That might sound really weird. I don't know about that. Maybe if the game is really good, I would give it a shot. I think I'm a little more open-minded than some other people. The main reason why I didn't buy XCOM was actually that the app included a timer, and that is something I wanted to avoid, especially when playing solitaire. I want to go my own pace. That's important for me. That is a reason why I went away from the computer games. It was just too much stress involved there. You were always under pressure from time, and I didn't enjoy that so much anymore after a while. But especially with the real-time strategy games. So I don't see a reason why I should buy a board game that includes a timer to make the game harder. Yeah, I don't know. This is not exactly what I want. So this might be an interesting alternative for a game like XCOM, but honestly, I cannot say too much about it, about XCOM. I mean, I haven't played it until now. I don't know much about it. The art looks fantastic in XCOM, so there might be a little more atmosphere or so. I don't know. As I said, maybe it plays completely different than that one, so I cannot say too much about that. Theme-wise, it's the same, and I can say this is a very solid game without an app. So, might be interesting for you. Okay, hope to see you in my next video or on lonesomegamer.com. Until then, bye.